Good evening, and welcome to the Crypto Overnighter. I'm Nikodemus, and I will be your host as we take a look at the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. And remember, none of this is financial advice. And it's 10 p.m. Pacific on a Friday, April 21st, 2023. Congratulations, you made it. Gemini is a cryptocurrency exchange based in the United States. At least for now. I say that because Gemini has announced plans. They intend to open an engineering hub in India. Gemini said that the hub will be its second largest engineering hub after its hub in the United States. This hub will be led by Pravjit Tawana. Now, Tawana has been appointed as the CEO of Gemini Asia Pacific. They were previously the Chief Technology Officer of Gemini. Now, Gemini said that their hub will focus on developing web and mobile user experiences. It will also contribute to platform compliance, data pipelines, warehousing, security, and payments. This hub is expected to develop new feature sets for Gemini's NFT and crypto asset marketplaces. Gemini said that it is actively hiring talent in India. Their careers page lists 18 open roles. 14 of them are engineering positions, and one is a regional vice president. Tawana acknowledged the talent that India possesses. He said that it is a hotbed for bar-raising technology talent. His words. Gemini reported plans to expand business teams in India and Singapore, focusing on growing Asia-Pacific-based institutional and individual customers. This is after Gemini's announcement on April 12th. That was when they revealed that they filed a pre-registration undertaking with the Ontario Securities Commission. The OSC is the regulator responsible for the capital markets in that province. This undertaking is a mandatory requirement for cryptocurrency exchanges seeking to conduct business in Canada and to become a registered dealer in the country. Now, Coinbase also has signaled interest in building more of its business outside of the US. They recently received a license to operate in Bermuda, all while many in the industry are unhappy with the regulatory treatment of crypto firms in the US. Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong indicated that the crypto exchange would consider moving away from the US. That is, if the regulatory environment for the industry does not become clearer. Anything is on the table, including relocating or whatever's necessary. That's what he said after meeting with former UK Chancellor George Osborne. Armstrong was asked whether he could see Coinbase leaving the United States at FinTech Week in London. He said, quote, "I think the US has the potential to be an important market for crypto, but right now we are not seeing the regulatory clarity that we need." He continued saying, "I think in a number of years, if we don't see that regulatory clarity emerge in the US, we may have to consider investing more somewhere else in the world." Also, consider that this happened after Bittrex said that it planned to exit the US by the end of April. They said that they're doing so because of the current US regulatory and economic environment. Now, Bittrex received a weld notice back in March, after stating that they're leaving the country. Gensler wants to find them on the way out the door. Or, more likely, he's taking advantage of the situation to set precedents in calling 6 more coin securities because he knows Bittrex isn't going to be around to defend itself. So even though Bittrex is leaving, the SEC filed that lawsuit against them on Monday. Now, Armstrong compared the UK situation. In the UK, there's only one regulator, the Financial Conduct Authority. The FCA is responsible for both commodities and securities. Now, unlike the US, where there are multiple regulators, the Commodity Futures Trading Commission and the SEC. Armstrong said, quote, "You don't have this unfortunate thing happening where the CFTC and the SEC are having a turf battle. We actually have contradictory statements from the heads of the CFTC and the SEC coming out almost every few weeks. How is a business going to operate in that environment? We just want a clear rule book." Now, Coinbase received a Wells notice from the SEC in March. Armstrong said Coinbase had met with the SEC 30 times. They met and left without getting feedback from the SEC before receiving their Wells notice. He said that there is a lack of distinction or nuance in how regulators view the different arms of the industry. Exchanges should be regulated like financial services companies. On the other hand, the decentralized areas of the industry should be handled very differently. Specifically because there is no central authority to regulate. Armstrong said, quote, "Things like Bitcoin, Ethereum, DeFi, and even self-custodial wallets should be regulated like a software business or something like that." He also spoke of decentralized identity. He said it's one of the most compelling use cases for blockchain technology beyond cryptocurrency. Decentralized identity is a way for people to have kind of their own information because they actually own it, he said. Decentralized social media is on the horizon, and I think it's pretty important in terms of freedom of speech. Now, earlier this year, Coinbase unveiled Base, an Ethereum Layer 2 network upon which developers can build decentralized apps, sending a signal that it wants to go beyond the trading of digital assets and into the developing and expanding the broader uses of blockchain technology. But back on topic, what is the deal with this regulatory ambiguity? Why is Gensler so afraid of telling everyone the rules that they're expected to play by? It's becoming the bane of the industry because, when the government doesn't know what the hell it's doing, and then they go and they create a bunch of rules and regulations that they don't even understand, that are so vague and so confusing that no one else can figure out what they mean, that's regulatory ambiguity. And you know what it does? It pushes technical and financial innovation offshore. That's right. When the government makes it too difficult to do business here, businesses just pack up and move their operations to other countries with more favorable regulatory environments. And who suffers? We do. We lose jobs. We lose tax revenue. We lose our competitive edge in the global economy. So what's the solution? Well, it's simple. The government needs to get its act together and create clear and concise regulations that make sense. That's it. That's all it takes. So what do you think? Is this something we should be concerned about? Are fintech companies going to be fleeing the U.S. regulatory hell for more comfortable climes? Let me know in the comments below. And I want to thank you for listening tonight. Please take a moment and like, follow, and subscribe to the podcast because it makes such a huge difference for the show. So thank you. On April 20th, 2023, the European Parliament voted to approve the Markets in Crypto Assets Regulation. MiCA is a comprehensive piece of legislation. It's expected to establish a regulatory framework for crypto assets in the European Union. Now, the MiCA regulation is a significant development for the crypto industry in the EU. Prior to MiCA, there was 27 different regulatory frameworks to comply with, costly and burdensome for companies. It made it more difficult for investors to understand the risks associated with crypto assets. Under MiCA, EU-wide regulations will apply. This means that companies can operate throughout the entire EU crypto market with a MiCA license granted from one country. This is expected to increase the competitiveness of EU startups. It may also result in them getting market share from unregulated competitors. Moreover, MiCA could encourage more institutional adoption and activity in the EU crypto and blockchain market. Patrick Hansen is the director of EU strategy and policy at Circle, and he said that MiCA will enable European crypto firms to scale and grow faster, allowing licensed companies to offer their services throughout the world's largest single market, a market with roughly 450 million people. He said, quote, "The legal clarity will also foster innovation amongst financial institutions that have been previously hesitant to launch products and services due to regulatory uncertainty." Additionally, as MiCA is the first comprehensive regulatory framework for crypto assets from a major jurisdiction in the world, it is likely to attract considerable foreign capital and talent to the region. Moritz Schild is a board member of the Hanseatic Blockchain Institute and the German Blockchain Association. He said the biggest advantage of MiCA is that it, quote, "will come into force already this year." This will give the EU the chance to provide a unified regulatory framework for crypto assets and regulated providers. Creating a regulatory framework for a technology that sees new developments and outgrowths pretty much every month and evolves as dynamically as the tokenization of investment opportunities is very challenging. He said, quote, "It should come as no surprise, therefore, that some regulations are not yet optimal and that questions about concrete applications remain unanswered." He adds that with MiCA, Europe has the potential to position itself as the location for innovation and quality. Peter Grosskopf is the co-founder of Unstoppable Finance. and he is also convinced that MiCA will benefit from both the EU crypto and blockchain markets. Companies from outside Europe will have to register with a company in the EU. This has a direct impact on job creation and tax payments. Many jurisdictions take an overly strict approach to regulating crypto. For example, Gensler loves his regulation by enforcement. The EU will become a, quote, safe place for the industry as a whole, and innovators from around the world will start to build their businesses here. At least that's how Grosskopf put it. Stefan Berger also noted that the United States is currently cracking down on the crypto sector. Now, he is the German politician and European Union parliamentarian that led the negotiations for MiCA. He said the European crypto asset industry has a regulatory clarity that the United States does not. And he is right. He thinks it would be wise for U.S. lawmakers to take a cue from MiCA. He said, quote, "For me, the biggest advantage is that we create trust, which is a crucial booster, especially for young technologies like blockchain. I expect regulation to become a global standard setter over time. A global MiCA would be desirable at some point." Now, through MiCA, European policymakers are trying to create a framework that builds trust through certainty, including a uniform classification of assets. Also, a new requirement for coin issuers. They're going to have to provide a white paper that discloses all relevant information about the coins, including their energy consumption and environmental impact. MiCA will ensure that every new token is reviewed for approval. They'll be checking that the business model does not threaten the stability of the cryptocurrency, so more transparency for the investors. That said, the crypto and blockchain sector is constantly evolving. Berger said, "Tokenization is not hype and will become an integral part of our lives and financial world." More and more business models are emerging based on NFTs. So far, they are largely exempt from MiCA. It only addresses crypto asset service providers that offer services for NFTs. Now, according to Berger, NFTs are next on the docket. European lawmakers are looking at what type of regulation would benefit both industry and consumers. Now, some aspects of this regulation have yet to be defined through upcoming technical standards and guidelines. Like, what are the specific liquidity requirements for token reserves? EU regulators will work on the standards over the next 12 to 18 months. Circles Hansen said, "The practical success of MiCA will largely depend on this implementation work, also referred to as Level 2 legislation." Hansen also mentioned that EU institutions are finalizing a new anti-money laundering rulebook that will be critical for crypto firms. Another critical review is that of PSD2. That's the EU's main payments directive. It's also expected to significantly impact crypto firms. In about 18 months, the European Commission will publish a detailed report on DeFi. At that point, they may take further legislative steps to regulate the space. Unstoppable's Grosskopf expects DeFi regulation to become a hot topic following the next round of elections in Europe, because MiCA will not apply to DeFi. He also said it's important to be proactive and to start thinking about how to regulate DeFi as early as possible, at least if they want to have any influence on the process. He said the new AML regulation is currently under discussion. In fact, he said it will most likely become a reality before MiCA. Now, we don't know exactly how European lawmakers will regulate NFTs and DeFi. We don't know whether there will be new requirements regarding smart contracts. Even so, the success of MiCA to regulate the space could provide a significant boost, both to EU crypto businesses and the EU economy as a whole. Now, whether this success actually happens depends on the practical implementation standards developed in the future. And finally, for our cover story for tonight, we've got Ben Armstrong, because the crypto influencer intentionally missed a court appearance. This is for that case where he was accused of harassing the lawyers in a lawsuit against him. Armstrong is also known as Bitboy Crypto. He was ordered to appear in court on April 20th to answer the allegations. He didn't do that. Instead, he tweeted pictures of himself on a beach in the Bahamas. The lawsuit was filed by individuals who were affected by the collapse of FTX. The claim is that Armstrong and several other YouTubers promoted FTX, and that they did so without disclosing that they were being paid for their efforts. The lead attorney for the plaintiffs is David Moskowitz. Moskowitz said that Armstrong harassed his legal team with, quote, endless phone calls, tweets, and emails. He said Armstrong left voicemails full of vulgarities. Potentially more concerning, Moskowitz alleges that Bitboy made social media posts that suggested threats. Now, Armstrong denies the allegations of harassment. He says that he's not afraid of Moskowitz, and he says that he's not, quote, flying by the seat of his pants. So the judge has ordered Armstrong to stop tweeting about Moskowitz and the plaintiffs. Armstrong was warned that he could be arrested. That is, if he does not appear in court on April 24th. Armstrong is often a controversial figure in the crypto world. He's known to make insulting comments about high-profile figures, in some cases targeting European Central Bank President Christine Lagarde and U.S. SEC Chairman Gary Gensler. Now, it remains to be seen how the court case will play out. The bigger question is whether Armstrong's actions have already damaged his reputation and if they've had a negative effect on the crypto industry as a whole. So what do you think? Is Armstrong in serious trouble, or is he in the clear? Are we acting like a bunch of clowns? If so, why would anybody take this seriously? Because honestly, so you want to invest in cryptocurrency? That's great. But before you do, there's something you need to know. Don't listen to celebrity influencers. I know it's tempting. A lot of these guys are rich, they're famous, and they seem to know what they're talking about. But the truth is, they are just as clueless as you are, just as clueless as I am. Now, I'm not speaking specifically about Bitboy or Kim K or Shaq, all of whom have come under fire for promoting cryptocurrencies. I'm talking about celebrity endorsements in general. And the sad fact is, they're probably even more clueless than you feel. After all, they're not necessarily experts in finance or economics. They're actors, musicians, and athletes who just happen to have a large following on social media. Some are just famous for being famous. So why do they give financial advice? Because someone paid them to. They're not looking out for you. They're not protecting you. They're not doing it to benefit you. They're doing what they're doing because it pays. So just keep in mind, these celebrities are paid by cryptocurrency companies to promote their products. And they're not just promoting them, they're shilling them. They're telling their fans to buy, buy, buy. But here's the thing. These celebrities don't care about your financial well-being. They don't know who you are. They don't care if you lose all your money. What they do care about is making a commission. So don't be a fool. Don't listen to celebrity influencers for cryptocurrency advice. Do your own research and invest wisely. And that's going to do it for us tonight. I want to thank you, my listeners, because when you stop listening, I will stop talking. If you enjoyed tonight's show, then please like, follow, subscribe. Maybe leave a rating. In the meantime, we'll see you tomorrow night.